You can't stop the people outside, the opinions they have. To go on the social media, to write comments and to speak about, yeah, he was bad, he was shit, and I hope your kids are dead tomorrow, your wife. Come on, man. The most difficult period in my life. I never speak about this, but maybe today is the time.
A very powerful, a very strong interview from Granit Xhaka. The links for the written version and video version are in our description below. Thank you very much to the Player Tribune for the footage there. And I wanted to address this because it is a subject matter which is very close to my heart, hugely close to my heart. Football fans have got this weird myth floating around their minds that they're not very powerful in football anymore. Their actions, their behaviors do not hold weight. If you have money-hungry, leech-like owners, a lot of football fans think they have no power to control how they operate the club or even to force them to sell. And you do. They're money-hungry and you take the money away. At the very least, they change because you're taking away what they're motivated by. Football fans have a massive impact on how a team plays and performs. The 12th man is not a cliche. It is not mythological. It's real. The 12th man is potent. In fact, the 12th man at a football club for me is the most important. I think football fans are the most important cog in the wheel of a club. They're the cornerstone of the club and should always be respected. But that respect comes with responsibility. And I am definitely someone who has ranted about a player. I am definitely somebody who has criticized a player. Don't want him. He's finished. He's dead. He's not a good enough manager. He's taken us backwards. He isn't of the class we need. And what's really interesting, there's a quote from this article from Granit Xhaka where he says, I understand that we will never be best friends, but I hope we can treat each other with honesty and respect. And that's potent for me. Potent, sobering. Because players do not want to be treated with kid gloves on. They do not want to be wrapped in cotton wool, put in a bubble, and face no criticism. Now, I've seen a lot of people on social media say this interview is aimed at AFTV. That is who he's talking about. And I think they're wrong. I think there are elements of this where he's talking about that part of the fan base. And I say that part, I'm talking about people that make social media content. And that can't just be leveled at AFTV because there are 1,000,001 people now making content about Arsenal and other clubs. They may be the GOATs and the pioneers. But everybody's responsible for their behavior. Troops making a video swearing about Granit Xhaka, being unhappy that Granit Xhaka swore at him, doesn't put anybody. If I watch that video and then I go and abuse Granit Xhaka, that's on me. It's not Troops. This weird. We have this weird kind of another kind of weird myth in our brains that's been created. I don't know where this has come from. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know. Where if me and you get into an argument online, or I say something about you, or you say something about me, and then an army of trolls comes for either one of us, that the person those trolls are supportive of are responsible for the situation. And they're quite simply not. For me, and I hope I've explained that right. If me and you have an argument and your followers come for me, you are not accountable. Unless you sent them and said, go and do this, you are not accountable. We've got to get rid of that. It probably isn't nice for a footballer to hear a fan outside the stadium swear about them. It probably isn't nice for them to read an article in a newspaper where their career or their ability is being absolutely ripped apart. But go back and speak about what he actually said in this interview, and we already knew before this. I wish your kids this. I wish your kids get that. I hope your wife. People wished cancer upon his wife. That didn't happen on an AFTV video. That didn't happen. He wasn't tweeted that by content creators. But yet we want to try and blame them and label it on them. Go back to this quote again. I understand we will never be best friends, but I hope we can treat each other with honesty and respect. I think the footballers can take the criticism. I think the footballers can even take the criticism when there's swear words in there, a few pejoratives in there. I think they can take that. But Granit Xhaka, for me, here is talking about the sickening online abuse. The sickening online abuse. Where the content creators do have a responsibility, though, is to be more mindful. So when you see a player that is looking vulnerable, and I'll give you an example away from Arsenal, Man United. I don't, right now, at this moment in time, the 14th of April, 2022, I don't want Maguire to remain as captain, and I don't really want him to remain at the club. But I'm also at a point now where I'm going to hold back from any further heavy criticism of him because he's had enough. And there's only so much you should subject somebody to. If you're a content creator and you make 3 videos in a month condemning Maguire, the only reason that you make the 4th and the 5th and the 6th and the 7th is to generate additional clicks and views on the same opinion. And it's something that I need to be more accountable of and aware of and not do as much of. Now, taking calls from viewers is different because I'm getting opinion in. But you as an individual, it's almost like, well, everybody knows my stance. Why have I got to do it again and then again and then again and then again? But equally, Harry Maguire probably isn't watching my content, doesn't follow the football terrace, isn't going to see it. There's a big difference between that and then going into somebody's DMs or atting them on social media and continuing to berate them. And I think there comes a time where if you're an adult, you look at this and say, I've told him what I think. I've told that fan channel I'll go on what I think. I've been on TalkSport and said what I think. Maybe I just hold back a little bit now. The balance needs to be right. When does the criticism turn into abuse? And that's what I'd like to know from you. This is something else that he said in the show.
What they want from me? To love them? Completely? No. I can't do it because I'm not fake. I'm real, how I grew up. And if someone did what happens, I said that before as well, we will be never best friends between each other.
Very interesting there, very strong words. And just, I want you to tell me what you think of that. That's what I really want to know from you. What do you think of that? How do you feel about this Granit Xhaka interview? Do you think he got a point? Do you think he's being too sensitive? Do you think all is fair in love and war? I want to know what your feelings on this are. You all know mine. You know where I draw the line. But he also said this on the night. And as I've said already, the links to watch this are in the description below. So go watch the full thing afterwards for full context, listening to him explain everything. But listen to this.
I want to have a better relationship with the people outside, with the fans. To be closer with them. We never meet them. We never have a conversation with them. They are only seeing us on the pitch, 90 minutes, and goodbye. They don't know how we trained before. They don't know how you feel. They don't know if you have problems in your family. They don't know if... A lot of points. After the season, I have still 2 years contract here. I will give everything until I'm in this football club. I always say that. I didn't sign a new contract only to be here for enjoy my time and that's it. No, I want to achieve something with this club, something special. And before that, I don't leave.
So as you can see, that's already out. Go check it out. Go watch it. He wants to be successful. He wants to have a better relationship with the fans. And I think both parties are responsible here. Not Xhaka personally. I mean, Arsenal Football Club and the fans. More needs to be done to bridge the gap. I learned this in my working life, that the more transparent you were, the better the relationship. So I'll give you a really warped example, but bear with me. When people used to get declined for borrowing money when I worked in banking, there always used to be a generic answer of, you haven't passed a credit check, there's nothing we can do. And it would leave people infuriated. Sometimes people would get loans and they had poorer credit and the interest rate would be massive and they couldn't understand it. And I sat there as a very young individual and I didn't know what to respond with, because we were basically given a script and said, this is what you say. If they've got a complaint, log it, and somebody at the complaints team will reach out to them. And my view with my team was, hang on, why don't you educate us internally the real reasons as to why we can't lend them, the responsibilities that we have as an organization, and also why interest rates are higher for, so like, explain it to us so we can speak to the customers. And this was met with, we don't do that. That's not how we operate as a bank. We never have for 300 plus years. Well, let's try it. So we started trialing it with more information. So we were able to sit down and articulately explain why we can't do something, the reasons for it, and the view that the organization takes. And we just taught our staff that instead of saying the bank says, the bank won't, the bank does this, it was we can't, we won't, we're not able to, but this is why, this is what we can do, this is where we can refer you. So we gave them options. And the levels of dissatisfaction, even after a disappointing outcome, improved tenfold, because we were transparent and we were open and we were honest. And sometimes it needs to happen a little bit more. When you sometimes hear the excuses, oh, someone's had some problems at home. We found out about Jesse Lingard at Man United a few years ago, been suffering with sort of mental health issues and lots of problems. And suddenly there was like, oh, I wish I wasn't as harsh on him. Well, maybe there's a way of bridging that gap a little bit sooner. The fans have also need to take some responsibility, as I've already said. Well, you've criticised Xhaka today and the last game. Maybe slow it down a bit. Maybe you don't at him. Maybe you're not. Maybe during this game, I'm not going to tweet anything about Xhaka. Maybe I'm going to take a step back. He doesn't need more from me. It's almost, that word again comes into my mind, balance. Applying that balance. But look, I've seen a lot of people go at Troops and AFTV over this, and I think that's unfair. I think it's a beautiful interview. Go and watch the whole thing. It's absolutely impeccable. Links are in the description below. I don't think this is about content creators. I don't think this is solely about criticism. And I think people need to understand, learn more and educate themselves the difference between abuse, strong criticism, and criticism. I think there's definitely a linear line that leads from one to the other. And that is where that balance comes in, though. Please leave me your comments below. Please subscribe to the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.